If you are wondering if the studio is for you, I am here live to answer that question. And I have a bunch of people who are on the fence waiting for the last minute and want to know if they should join the studio. And I'm here to help you make the decision because it is not for everyone. So let's get started with the most common question, which is what if I don't have time to do the studio? Or just the sense that I'm too busy, I can't take on one more thing. Trust me, I 100% get this. I have 5 children. I spent years solo parenting, homeschooling, building my business, side hustle, holding down a job, running my household. I know what busy feels and looks like. We've moved countries twice. We've moved homes 9 times. And I've, had a job and a business and no household help or no family around. So I really know what it feels like to feel like I'm just crushing under the weight of everything I have on my plate already. Why would I take on one more thing? Plus, when it comes to online courses and memberships, I think we've all been really burnt by joining one, by signing up, by thinking this is going to be the thing, this is going to be the solution, I'm going to stick with this one. And then it disappoints us, or it doesn't work, or we don't manage to make it work because we're too busy. We get easily distracted and we fall off the bandwagon. So first of all of that makes 100% sense. Hello, Suzanne. It's so good to see you here live. Yay. Much love. So first of all of that makes perfect sense, and I completely understand it. And this is, I think, the number one reason that we parents often don't want to take things on, because we're already busy. You don't have much time, and I get that. But let me give you a little bit of tough love and a little bit of real talk. First of all, if you just open this pesky little thing on your phone called the Screen Time app, I want you to check how long you spend on your phone every day, how long you spend on social media, how long you spend on your emails, how long you spend on ChatGPT or on WhatsApp or on whatever your poison of choice happens to be. Because my guess is that you could easily find, so maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours, at least 40 minutes, at the very least 5 minutes, that you could grab back from one of those apps, and that you could take from there and channel it and funnel it towards creating the household and the life of your dreams with your family, right? Becoming the best parent you can possibly be. Think of the time that we spend doom scrolling, just watching the news, watching YouTube, watching Instagram, pinning on Pinterest, and take just a small portion of that time and direct it towards feeling more confident, calm, and real solutions in your parenting. The next thing I want to say about time, feeling time impoverished, is that it takes a little bit of time to make time. In fact, in Marie Forleo's Time Genius course, she has an entire bonus section by yours truly, by moi. I made her this section specifically for parents, all about time management. And the reason I made that for her is because she was making this time management course, but she's not a parent herself, so she wasn't sure how to make it make sense for people with kids. And this happens to be an area, a little bit of expertise of mine, because I've had to figure it out. And I have gone through years. Okay, I've been married for almost 2 decades, parenting for 14 years almost. And I've gone through years of trial and error, figuring out systems for time management so that I have time for self-care, time for my marriage, time for my home, time for my business, time for my kids, time to sleep properly, all of that. And that's something I can teach you. So if you join the studio, you're actually going to be making time. Now, yeah, it will take a little bit of time in the beginning. You'll have to watch a couple things, right? But then you'll start implementing it, and you'll find order and you'll find ease. Now, what I'm not going to sit here and do is promise you a magic bullet and tell you that within a week, everything will be organized, and within a month, you'll be completely transformed. I don't believe in that. I don't think it's true. I don't think that that's how, how big transformations happen inside of our family life. But I am going to tell you that piece by piece, slowly but surely, step by step, I can take your hand and guide you towards order and calm and organization and an easy schedule and manageable timetable, and give you that liberation that you feel like I can handle what's on my plate. I'm doing the things that are important to me. And I'll just, in case you don't join the studio, let me just give you one thing that's really important that I've learned over the years. I'm not sure who to attribute this to. It's not originally mine. But one of the things that I learned from one of the books I've read, maybe you can help me out in the comments, I forget who it was that we make time for what's important. That we make time for what's urgent, but we don't necessarily make time for what's important, right? What's urgent is, the pasta's burning, the diaper changing, the kid that's screaming, I need to get the special clothes for tomorrow for school, or, whatever's urgent. But the important things, okay, understanding what our values are, getting clear on our vision, getting clear on our house rules, establishing our rules about sleep or about sugar or about screens. All of that just gets shoved by the wayside and we stay stuck in survival mode, just putting out fires. What the studio is going to help you do is to take back what's important, not what's urgent. When you put in place what's important, who we are as a family, where we belong as a family, how we treat each other as a family, what we do as a family, when you get really clear on all those things, then the urgent becomes more manageable. It becomes less urgent because you've made those decisions in advance. Right? The decision fatigue and the overwhelm is often solved with a little bit of planning, with just a little bit of time, a pause where you can just say, okay, 1 minute, one pause. I just need to get my head on straight, make a plan, and then I can stick to it. So one of the best analogies for this is, say you're trying to suddenly get fit, right? And you go to the gym. They're not just going to put you on a treadmill or just give you some dumbbells. First, they need to have an intake. They need to just make a plan. They need to understand who you are, what your capacity is, what your goals are, what your starting point is, how you're going to measure success, make a nutrition plan, make a workout plan, and then you can step by step follow that plan. But we can't just dive in, when we're constantly in survival mode and just putting out fires, just handling whatever's coming at us next, just handling the urgent. Instead, we actually have to make time for the important. And that's what the studio can help you do. Hey, Melissa, so good to see you here. Oh, let's talk. I miss you. Okay, the second question. My partner is not on board. What should I do? Many people feel, and I totally get this, that they don't want to spend money on an online program without your husband's buy-in, without your partner's buy-in. And I think that makes sense. I mean, we need to be considerate of each other and not spend chunks of money on things that we're not both on board with. And I think it's very appropriate that many men are skeptical about online courses. There are a lot of scammers out there. There's a lot of low quality information out there. When you come to a sales page like the studio and it's promising you the world and it's promising you transformations, I appreciate the very masculine trait of saying, hold on a minute, where's the proof? How do I know these testimonials aren't made up? How do I know you're not just going to spend this money and it's never going to even work? How do I know it's going to work for you? I don't think you need it. You're a perfect mom as you are. Everything's great. You don't need it, right? And I too have a husband like that at home. So if that's you, like totally cool, totally okay. It's good that he's being a wise and careful steward of your finances. And that's okay. But I want to tell you that the vast majority, and it is usually women, we have a few men in there as well, but to be honest, it's like 99% women. The vast majority of women make this decision on their own because they know that they need the support to join. They need the accountability. They need a structure. They need help with that invisible mental load that women always talk about, right? Of like, I just need to feel like I'm doing the right thing for my family. I just need to feel like I'm a good leader, like I'm in control, like I'm making good choices, like I'm being a good parent. And they need that, and their husbands don't necessarily always understand their need for that. And so I want you to have a solid, connected marriage. I want you to have mutual respect and good conversations. And I also think that this is the kind of thing that you could lead on, that you could say, no, I need this for me. I'm doing this for me. And what's wonderful, what I can promise you, is that he will see the change and he will see the value. And the reason he'll see the change and see the value, I'm just going to be totally stereotypical and not politically correct. And by the way, that's what I'm like inside the studio. My filters come off and I'm a lot more raw and real and tough love. But just stereotypically, not true in every relationship, not true for every man and woman. But most of the time, what will happen is, let's just call it happy wife, happy life. right? A woman will come into the studio, she's feeling overwhelmed, she's feeling stressed, she's feeling undersupported, she's feeling uninspired in her role, she's feeling like her identity has got lost into motherhood, she's feeling like she's not taking care of herself enough, not taking care of the home enough, worried and anxious about her kids' future, worried about the clutter and the chaos and the meal planning, and wants something for her family, wants traditions, wants rituals, wants stability, wants to emotionally coach her kids without making them fragile, wants all these things, comes into the studio. And slowly but surely, she starts glowing. She starts building confidence. She starts feeling like, I've got this. I know what I'm doing. She starts creating experiences in her family life, like playing a board game, putting the phones away, having more time around the table, getting out in nature, tidying up, making cozy zones, all these different things that suddenly make her feel happy and calm and successful and impassioned, right? And inspired in her role as a mother. And let me just tell you, I know this isn't PC, but who cares? This is the truth. Every single decent man on this planet who is married wants his wife to just be happy. He just wants her to be happy. He just wants her not guilt-ridden, not constantly anxious, not constantly feeling like she's not good enough, the house isn't good enough, the kids aren't good enough, she doesn't, right? He's not good enough, their marriage isn't good enough. He wants her to be confident and happy. He wants her to be happy with their life, happy with the role, happy with what he can provide, what she can provide, what they're creating together. His mood rises and falls to her mood. Okay. And if she's happy and she's bubbly and she's joyous and she's on an adventure, and she's like, yes, we've co-founded this beautiful family and now I'm going to make the most of it. And this is the most meaningful project of my life, because it is. Then he benefits from that. And he's immediately like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Okay. And I can't tell you the number of students I've had who come into the studio being like, I didn't even tell my husband about this. You know, oh, I thought he tried to talk me out of it, but I'm doing it anyway. And, you know, a week later, they're like, he's like, what's changed? He asks me, right? What's changed? Whatever you're doing is good. I will pay for the studio all day, every day, if this is the results that it gets us. And that's because he sees that she's uplifted, that she's finally getting the support that he can't give her. Because he can't, because he's not a parenting coach and he's not a community of like-minded parents and he's not a curriculum on how to be a leader. And frankly, he's not a woman and doesn't understand, you know, maybe some of your psychological ways and tendencies and needs as someone who breastfeeds and is pregnant and is up at night with a baby or whatever else, or cares about what the house looks like or whatever is typical and stereotypical for women. And because he doesn't understand all of that, but suddenly you're getting the support that you need and deserve, he's like, awesome, amazing, I'm happy with this. All right. So I encourage you to become that leader, okay, to step into that role, to be like, no, I'm doing this for me. I need this. And I promise you, he will see the results and he will be really happy about it. Okay. All right. The next question is, what if I join and then I don't keep up or I fall off? I really get this one because I have joined programs that I haven't finished. I have joined programs that I only implement a small amount of. And I just want to say, from the get-go, okay, the studio is not meant to be done and completed. It's not. You're not meant to, it's not a parenting course. You don't come in and go through everything and finish it. And like, that is just something you need to know. It's much more like joining a gym, where the idea is that you change your lifestyle. The idea is that you continue to work on these skills year over year over year, because I can give you an empowered mindset and an organized schedule and incredible rituals and traditions with your kids and teach you how to coach them for togetherness and teamwork and all of that stuff. I can do that, but then you leave and then you don't have the accountability and the troubleshooting and the office hours and the follow-up and the community. And that's the thing, you know, let me just linger there a moment. I just want to show you, okay? The studio is its own app. Let's see if you can see some of this. Yeah, the studio is its own app with its own community where people post. So you don't need to be on Instagram or on, what's it called, Facebook or any of those places anymore, because we are here supporting you. And in the studio, we ask the most vulnerable questions. We share our wins. People ask me questions and I answer them in our coaching, right? And we share all of our successes and our failures, and we're really raising our children together. And that's why it's not a course. I have people who have been with me in there for 7+ years, right? it's changed and reiterated over the years. We've changed platforms, but I have students who have been traveling with me, and you'll see them in my comments on YouTube, right? Who have been doing this with me for years. We've been raising our children together. So from when they were toddlers and now they're suddenly tweens, right? And so this is not about keeping up or falling off. It's a seasonal thing. You just get back on when you need it. It's there for you. And I want to ask you, what would it be worth it for you to know that whenever I need it, I have the support in my back pocket? Whenever I need it, I can tap in to this incredible community of parents worldwide who are there to support me, who are there to see the best in me, who offer me the most generous interpretation, who do not bring politics into it, who do not, evangelize or are not on some kind of mission to convince me or to change me, but are there to help me to become the best version of myself. All right. What would that mean to you? And if that's something that you think would be valuable to you, then hop on in, join the studio. And doors close today. So now is the time to do it. Another question is isn't this just another parenting course? And look, like I've already explained, no, it's not, because it's much more like a lifestyle gym. Okay, there's a community, there's regular coaching with me. So your questions get answered by me. If you've liked my Q&A sessions that I've been doing throughout April, you're going to love what's on the inside. But more than that, I just want to say more than that. Look, I've taken parenting courses, and I've read a lot of parenting books, and I follow a lot of parenting gurus and coaches online. I think they're all, a lot of them are really excellent, and they have a lot of good advice and good ideas. One thing that you will come across a lot is an overemphasis on empathy and an overemphasis on a hands-off parenting approach, and not a lot of pragmatic, practical, down-to-earth, real-life advice for raising resilient kids. And I do think that's actually a bit of a differentiator of my coaching style and of what happens inside the studio, because we're really not there. I'm not there to sell you fluff, right? I have 5 kids of my own. They're probably similar ages to your kids. This has to be real. This has to work in real-life homes with real-life people. And it has to bring about real life results and not theory, right? Not academia. So that's something I want to say. Now, about the idea of falling off a course, I just want to say that I have taken courses where I've only completed about 10%, but it was the exact 10% I needed, right? Like I just got the tools I needed. I just got something from it. And if you think about it, like going to the gym, there are people who go to the gym and they become full-time bodybuilders, and that's their whole job. That's their whole life. Every meal they eat is all about that, working out for hours and hours a day. And that was never going to be me. But I'm going to lift my weights, do my little gym. And I'm not going to, beat myself up that I'm not the full, most Olympian expression of that course or of that offering. So sometimes you just come in and you just take your part of it, what you need. One of the mantras that we have inside the studio is that you take what works and you leave the rest. Another mantra that we have inside the studio is that we do it with the drama. Yeah, there's drama in everyday life. I'm living through a war right now, a war. That's drama for you, right? We live through tantrums. We live through diseases. We live through stress. We live through struggle. There's drama. No one's going to whitewash anything inside the studio. No one's going to pretend that everything's just easy and flowers all day, right? Unicorns and rainbows. It isn't. And we do it with the drama. We do it anyway. We carry on, right? That's the kind of mindset that I'm going to help you develop, that mental strength, that backbone, that thick skin, because life has drama. Unfortunately, I cannot protect you from diagnoses, from hurricanes, from downturn, from attacks, from bad actors, from getting fired, from all sorts of things, right? All sorts of disappointments and grief. What I can help you do is build up your brain, build up your mindset to be really tough and strong so that you become a load-bearing wall in your family, right? You become a pillar of strength in your community. People can lean on you because you're capable, because you're strong, because life doesn't break you. That's the kind of thing I can offer you inside there. And you don't need to do the whole course for that. You don't need to watch every bonus training or every office hours or every mini course that I offer inside the studio. You just need to be part of it. Immerse yourself in it. replace a couple of your social media apps with this and start listening to this and getting into this groove and see how that affects your brain, see how that affects your soul, see how that affects your ability to show up for yourself and for your family. See what that does to your mental state. We talk a lot about mental health, and I know that's a big concern for a lot of people, and it's a concern for me too. But I'm much more interested in mental toughness, right? In building up your mental health, not by way of, diagnosing anxiety and depression and that kind of thing, but actually preventative mental health. That's what this is. So this is to your mental health what working out is to your physical health, right? It just builds you up, makes you stronger, makes you more capable to recover and get through tough times because you're strong, because you're healthy, because you're fit. Let me build up your mental toughness. Okay, let me build you up so that you can handle it when your teenager lies to you, when your tween sneaks a screen into their bedroom in the middle of the night, when your 5-year-old is sneaking candy, when someone goes through bullying in school, when, whatever it is, God forbid, I don't wish any of that on anyone, but those things are the types of things that we all struggle with and deal with in parenting. Let me build you up so that you feel like, I've got this, I can take it, I'm a leader, right? That's what I want for you, empowerment. Next question. My house isn't really in crisis. Things are going pretty well. Should I still join? So look, not to beat a dead horse, but like the gym, right? The gym has something for beginners and it has something for, Olympian bodybuilders. I think that if your house is in order, you feel like you're decluttered, you have a good schedule, you have good bedtimes, you have good sugar routines, all of that stuff is in place, then you're going to really dive into the mindset stuff, right? Inside of the studio, I'm going to help you to set strong boundaries, to follow through on them, to make decisions with ease so you're not so, fatigued by decision fatigue, to feel confident in your own identity, to feel like you're glowing up, like you're happy in your own skin, those types of things, right? And if your house is in crisis and you feel like, oh, it's chaos, I can't even talk about those things. Don't talk to me about hiking. Don't talk to me about taking a tech break. I'm not there. That's fine. We'll meet you where you are, okay? I'm on a mission to help parents from all over the world. I'm on a mission to help thousands of parents all over the world to feel empowered. It doesn't matter where you are, we're going to help you take the next step. All right. There's someone in the studio who has been where you are right now and is waiting eagerly to encourage you, to help you, to point you to the right resource and to encourage you on your parenting journey. The next question, can this actually help with teens, with toddlers, with neurodivergent? Right. So this is a question that I always get, which is, will this work for my unique child? People ask me, will it work for twins? Will it work if I'm living in a tiny home? Will it work if we're homeschooling? Is it for Christians? Is it for atheists? Is it for kids with neurodivergence? Is it for toddlers? Is it for teens? And here is my answer to you. The studio is for parents who want to be leaders in their home. Parents who want to feel empowered, focused, have conviction, have clarity, have confidence. If you don't want to be second guessing yourself and doubting yourself, if you don't want to feel confused or undercut or undermined, if you don't want to be uncomfortable setting boundaries, rules, conveying your values to your children, if all of those things are things that you don't want, then the studio is for you. If you do want to feel like you're inspired, like you're on a path, like you're building a family culture that really reflects the future that you believe in, right? You're raising people who you believe in. You're like, yes, this is what the world needs more of. You want to feel like you can put your head on the pillow at night and be like, you know what? I did my best. I did a good job. I'm happy with how I showed up. It wasn't perfect, but I'm not guilt-ridden. I'm not confused. I'm not worried. I'm not anxious. I'm not envious of other families, right? Just feeling comfortable in your own skin, just feeling happy with what you're doing with your family, feeling like I've got it. I can handle it. I can take it. I can manage. I can do more than manage. I can actually excel and succeed. In the most important role in my life, in my parenting role. If that is something that you want to feel, then it is for you. Okay, because this isn't about whether your child has an ADHD diagnosis or whether your child is 13 or whether your child is 2, right? It doesn't really matter. What matters is the principles that you need to apply in yourself to show up as the leader that your child needs. Will we cater to neurodivergence and to tweens and to teens and to toddlers and to homeschoolers? Yes. Is this good for families of faith or of no faith? Yes. Is it good for vegans? Yeah. Is it good for twins? Yeah. But I'm not saying, oh, this is for everyone all around the world. No, because there are some parents who aren't interested in introspection, who don't want to, work on themselves, self-development, who don't think that parenting is all that important. They're happy to outsource it to the school system. They don't mind their kids rotting on TikTok all day because whatever, who cares? All kids are going to turn out the same anyway, right? There are many, many parents who just don't have an interest or time of day or a belief in themselves that they even can show up and lead their family and create a family culture, right? There are many parents who don't see themselves in those roles, and that's okay. It wouldn't be for them. And I hate to say it, but there are many people who look for drama, who look for, dogmatic, judgy, accusatory environments online, who create drama. I don't want them in the studio, right? In all our years of operation, we've only ever had to ask 2 people to leave. And we've asked them to leave. We've kicked them out because they were really toxic to our members. They were being accusatory. They were engaging in cancel culture. But look, we have people from the left, from the right. We have Christian conservatives. We have liberals. We have progressives. We have people across the political spectrum from every major religion, from every country, like from 90 plus countries. I think we hit over 100 countries at some point. People whose English is not their mother tongue, people who have 1 child, people who have 8 plus children, right? We have a very wide range, a very diverse group. But what we won't stand for is people tearing each other down, people being discouraging, people enforcing and, policing their belief system on others, people evangelizing. We won't stand for that. We're here to help you with your belief system, with your religion, with your nationality, with your patriotism, with your belief around school, right? With your lifestyle choices, with the type of home you have, with the type of family you have. Maybe you have a blended family or an adoptive family, it works for anyone, but you have to come in with a coachable mindset. You have to come in saying, I'm here because I want to create a strong family culture. I want to be a great leader. I want to raise resilient kids. I want to create a meaningful culture. Those are the types of things that keep us together and keep us united inside the studio. Let me give you a mini tour. I don't know if this is going to work because the lighting might not be so amazing, but I do want to just show you that one of the things, so when you join in the studio, right, one of the things that you can see here is, let's just go piece by piece. You've got the feed, which is the main group that we all participate in all the time. And then you've got our events calendar, which will show you our upcoming events. Which are things like my troubleshooting sessions, office hours, live events, etc. Then you've got, you have orientation, you have a little bonus surprise that you'll unlock when you join. I can't tell you about that right now. And then you have this leadership curriculum, right? And the leadership curriculum, every single season, we go through these themes. Each month, you unlock another training that's going to help you become the leader that you need to be. So things like crafting a vision, which is what we're going to start tomorrow. Okay, we're going to start tomorrow crafting a vision for your family. Where do you want to be in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years? And here's the amazing thing about crafting a vision. We all overestimate what we can do in a day. You're super busy in a day. You think, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do the emails, I'm going to do the work, I'm going to wash the floor, and by the end of the day, you're like, I didn't do any of it. How did I miss all of my to-do list? But we tend to underestimate what we can complete in a year. A year is quite a long time. A year is enough to establish new habits. A year is enough to fall off and then get back on, right? And we certainly underestimate what we could do in 10 years. Listen, I have been in situations with my family that if you told me we could do this 10 years ago, I wouldn't have believed you. Bringing extended family members back together, building relationships that were rocky or, difficult, building towards your dream home or your dream lifestyle, your dream job, having siblings suddenly blossom in their friendships. These are the types of things that if you have a vision and if you're working towards it, you become this mastermind behind the scenes that's helping your family get there. Now, without you, they'll never get there. Like without you, it could be chaos. It could be, neglectful. It could be madness. If you don't really take on that mantle, it's not going to work. But if you do, you can create absolutely incredible things. So when we start Vision tomorrow, what you will do if you join the studio is that you'll actually unlock my training on this, visionary parent and the PDF guide that goes with it. Let's see if I can show you that here right now. So I just want you to see, right? So you get a feel for how awesome it is, right? So you get this video, okay, with the training, with all the comments and all the things that come with it. And then let's see, I have the, right, and there's just really very wonderful insights from our community, sharing their mood boards, sharing their plans, etc. And you'll get a PDF. So let's just load that to show you what that can look like, right? You get a PDF and you can fill it out digitally. You can fill it out in print. People have binders where they every single year fill out these things and then revisit them to see how they've improved and how things have changed. Because what's very beautiful in parenting is really to see it as a project, right? Just like if you were doing a degree or if you were doing a course or if you were building a treehouse, you would need plans, you would need materials, you would need support, you would need to watch some tutorials. And, you could almost kind of become, not everyone does this, I'm not like this, but a lot of our students are like straight A students, like printing them off, measuring them against each other, because the science is actually very clear that when you write things down, they become more cemented in your mind. And also what you measure, you improve. So it's worth measuring our parenting. Hey, I'm yelling less. We're sitting around the table more together. We're being more consistent with bedtimes. The siblings are getting on better together. I'm being more planned out with our vacations. We're getting together with friends and building more community, right? We measure it and then it improves. Okay, so wait, back to our tour. We were talking about the leadership curriculum, which is kind of the base of the program. But then what's really amazing is that every single season you unlock a project and you get credits towards one of our projects. And we have many. I think we have probably over 20 by now. I'm not sure exactly the number. Okay, but projects are things like, let's say a family feast. Okay, this is about establishing family meals together. And then you get put in just that project group. So you have accountability for it. I go live inside those groups and talk about it. There's a workshop for it, like a masterclass. There's a PDF for it. There's a group for it. And the idea is to establish a new habit. Okay. So in this case, it's sitting around the table, screen-free, and eating together at the same time. And it is so wonderful because it changes people's lives, right? We know that kids have lower incarceration rates, have higher academic skills, have better rates of happiness and health and longevity when they sit around the table with their family. It's just absolutely incredible. But there's a lot of other projects that you can choose from, and each season, new options come along. Like we're going to be doing raising masculine boys and raising feminine girls. We're going to be doing talking to kids about money and establishing finances and healthy finances for children. We've done things like getting out in nature, reestablishing your family library, doing your family roots and family tree and family stories. So many. Planning your vacations, decluttering your house, designing your house, getting fit, glowing up. Right? These are the types of projects. But the thing with projects is that it's very scientific. We know that when you take on one new habit at a time, you can establish that new habit, but not when you're overwhelmed. And that's why we really pace you. So you're not just taking on habits and dropping off after a week. We're going to pace you through so you really get results. And what you hear, and you'll see in the testimonials on the page, you'll see in the group when you join, is just people saying, I can't believe how much I've accomplished this year. Like, wow, if you'd have told me that we'd be having incredible bedtime routines where all my kids sleep in their own bed through the night and I'm going to bed at 10 p.m. and just feeling so much younger and more energized and happier, I would never have believed you. But that's not the only thing. I also got fit. I've been trying to move my body for years and I never had the motivation. But because I'm in High Fam, I suddenly am motivated. I have accountability. I've unlocked my way of doing it. I know I do my 10-minute stretches in the morning and my half an hour walk in the evening, and I feel like a different person. But not only that, I've also started incredible teamwork with my kids. Every single day, we're doing chores together. They're finally vacuuming, folding laundry, things that I never thought I could get them to do. Those are the types of results that we're seeing all the time, and that's life-changing. Okay, the next question. Oh, hi, Ginger. Okay, no problem. By the way, if you're here live, ask me questions, no problem, because it's the last day to join. So it's really the time to ask all of those questions. Okay. Hey, so sorry if I missed it, but could you share, does the membership include content from previous years? And how many hours watch is it monthly? Okay. So it does include content from previous years. So first of all, you have access to my office hour question vault, right? Where we actually divide it beautifully. So you can see if the question interests you and only watch that part, right? It's lots of little videos of me coaching people live, of me talking to people about fights with their husband, about bedtime routines, about neurodivergent kids, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that is something that you have access to, and it's from all the years previous. You also have access to a very large library of amazing bonuses. Things like, and I can just show you this, things like, it's in here. Where is it? Let me just see. I think it's in the vault. Oh no, here, bonus trainings, sorry. Yeah, bonus trainings. So inside the bonus trainings, what you'll get access to is these mini courses, okay? Like leading with values. So I teach you how to teach critical thinking, how to teach accountability, how to teach respect, how to teach integrity, right? I also teach you how to reframe, okay? How to reframe your parenting role, your child's behavior. This is an incredible CBT training that some people say is worth the price of the entire course. People say that routinely. How to make any decision. You want to make a decision about school, about sleep training, about where to live, about what to do, whatever, about whether or not to have another child. Watch this series. You will get clarity. You will know how to do it. Okay. Take it from someone who's moved a lot and made a lot of decisions, right? How to set boundaries. If you're struggling with boundaries around screens, around sugar, around the in-laws, setting boundaries with your parents, with your siblings, with your partner, whatever, I'm going to teach you how to do that. How to handle any emotion. Okay. What if my kid's angry? What if my kid's scared? What if I'm frustrated? What if, what if they're constantly negative and constantly pessimistic or whining or complaining? You got it. You've got the training for that. How to follow through with consistency on your choices, on your actions, on your boundaries. Friends, what I just showed you here is just the bonuses. Okay, that's not even the core curriculum. That's not even the main projects. That's just the bonuses. Okay, so yes, there is a lot, and I don't expect you to do all of it. I don't want to overwhelm you. Okay, I don't want to overwhelm you, but there is a lot in there, and yes, you do get access to previous things. What you don't get access to is all the projects at once, because I don't want you taking on a million different habits at once. You won't manage. We're there to get you results. I measured the success of the studio with results. I just want to see, know them by the fruit. Do people come out more empowered? Do people end the year with better habits, with better family atmosphere, with better togetherness, with better organization? Do they feel more confident? Do they have more conviction? Are they more comfortable with themselves as a leader? Are they able to set boundaries? Are they able to follow through on their goals? Do they have a more empowered mindset? If so, the studio has succeeded. If not, the studio has failed. And I know it succeeds because we've had thousands of members and I see that it does succeed, but we're always sharpening that. Okay, and then of course you get access to my coaching. You get access to some previous content that we sometimes bring in as a bonus, and you get access to our incredible community. Okay, Ginju said, also, you once had a mindset course, Alchemize maybe. Sorry, I can't seem to find it anymore. Yes, I do have a course. It's kind of the next level mindset course. And I think that we usually open that only to studio members to join. There are a few kind of add-ons that only studio members can join, like the Desire Lab, where I help you build chemistry and passion with your partner, like Alchemize. So, and this year, I'm actually going to be opening another one, which is all about being a professional, building a business while you're a parent, while you're homeschooling, or while you have a baby, or while you have kids in school, whatever, how to balance that. It's something I've been doing for 14 years. I love my work. I love my life at home. I'm very trad wifey in the house, and I'm very boss babe in my job. And I love both of those sides of me. And if that's something you're like, oh, I need help on that, I want to know how to do that, then join the studio and I will share everything with you. Okay, Emmanuel, please share your experiences with teaching or observing your children to read and starting phonics and numbers. My child is 2. Is it too early? I've never taught a child to read that early. The earliest that I have taught my children to read is the age of 4. I know people do start at 3. I don't know about 2, unless they're very precocious. It sounds a little early to me, but certainly you could do letter recognition and that kind of thing. I have had really good success with the book, How to Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. I think that's what it's called. I'm going to grab the link for you. And I just want to tell you that it's simple and it's straightforward. It's not a complex curriculum, but that was my favorite one. I'm grabbing you the link. And I'm not an expert on this. So I'm not up to date with all the latest options. I just bought that book a while back, and I've already taught 3 kids to read with it, and it was successful for me, and I just kept going with that. So I also use Bob Books, but that's after this first initial one. All right, and I'm just dropping that in the comments, and you're welcome to check it out. Okay, does that answer your question, Emmanuel? Awesome. Okay. Next question here is about the money. So I want to tell you, wait, let me just find the question. Where is the question? Here it is. Okay, basically, is it worth the money? Okay, what is included in the studio? Okay, so I've just shown you a lot of what's included, and I have to be honest because I do take online courses as well as sell them, and what's in the studio is easily worth, I would say, about 7 times what we're charging, right? It costs about $429 a year. It's an annual membership. You can cancel anytime. You can also pay in quarterly installments. But look, I mean, it's not so easy to sell parenting, support, because I think mothers often leave themselves last, right? Like they spend all their money on things like taking care of the household, taking care of the kids, the kids' education, kids' classes, kids' curriculums, gymnastics and all of that stuff, which is admirable. And that totally makes sense. I get that. And I do that too. But I just want to make a pitch. I'm not into being a pushy salesperson. I think it's easily worth it. And that is something that we hear time and time again. One of the biggest compliments I get from my student members is just this training alone, or just this session alone, or just this bonus alone was easily worth 5 times what I paid for the entire thing. Now, it's not easy because I know that people come from lots of different financial backgrounds and different places in the world, right? Like, oh, if you come from, I don't know, LA, then people are used to hearing these massive price tags on courses. People are spending $2,000, $5,000 on a mastermind, on a course, on a class, right? Whereas if you come from the UK, where I'm originally from, or from other countries, I don't know, maybe Australia or Germany, or where a lot of my members are from, it's less common. Here in Israel, it's certainly less common. People don't spend big sums on courses and on online support. But I want you to think about it less like the price tag for a course, and more like a price tag for the results that you would get. So you have to ask yourself, okay, if I feel more confident, if I feel that I am organized, if I'm giving my kids the type of leadership and parenting that I never got, that I really want to give them. If I'm maintaining healthy relationships with a community, with adult friendships, if I feel that I'm able to build a home that I'm proud of, what is that worth to you, right? And it's hard to put a price tag on that. I can't, it's hard. It's like when I sell my marriage course and I'm like, I don't know, what is your marriage worth to you? Is it worth $1,000? Is it worth 10,000? Is it worth 10 million? Like, what is a marriage or a relationship worth? It's a question. What is your family worth, right? Is it worth $429 a year for you to feel that you have the support you need, have the coaching you need, have the community you need, have a content that will drive you to become the leader that you need to be for your family? I don't know. Is it worth that for you, right? That's the question that I can't answer, but that you can. Galina says, studio member of 7 years here. Hi, Galina. And the support I've gotten from the studio and mindset training are absolutely priceless. The price is more than worth it. Try it. You won't regret it. Galina, always coming in at just the perfect time. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. And I didn't set Galina up to do this, although I really do appreciate your support. It's always more meaningful when you hear it from other members, when you hear it from people who have already been through it. I happen to know that trust in online trainings is at an all-time low in our culture today. And I get that. You know, people feel like, I'll just get it on ChatGPT. I'll just get it for free on YouTube. You have enough content on YouTube for me to watch. Why should I sign up for a course? But you know what? I do want to read you something that I just read today in one of my members. Okay. And I put it here for myself. This is very beautiful. Okay. One of my members, we'll just call her G because I don't want to expose her name because she didn't give me permission to share this. So I'm just going to share it anonymously. She said, my one regret in it all is that I didn't start the studio earlier. After talking myself out of it year after year, I'm glad I'm here now and can see the exponential value of each year with trust that we get just what we need for the season we are each navigating. So I can't say it better than her, but that is definitely something that I hear very often. I just regret not joining earlier. Look, you deserve the support. You know, you really deserve the support. Miss Melalina says, I signed up because I had watched every single YouTube video. That's pretty impressive. Well done. That's a lot of content. But look, I also just want to tell you, I actually like my content on YouTube. I'm proud of it. But there's a whole different me inside the studio. I mean, I'm the same person with the same ideas, but there's just this back and forth. There's this off the cuffness. There's this in it togetherness, which is very different than me creating a polished edited video for YouTube, right? There's, coaching. And also, I always bring my freshest, newest ideas and research to the studio first. Right? It comes up that's actually where I get my ideas for my YouTube videos, is because I'm coaching real life parents and I'm like, oh, your daughter wants to wear hot pants? Okay, new problem. Let's talk about why you would say yes, why you would say no. And then I'll, a few months later, go and craft a video that's more organized, 10 steps to, blah, blah, blah for YouTube. But inside the studio, it's raw, it's real, it's timely. Right. And it's much more kind of authentic in that way. And also, I do honestly sometimes feel a little bit guarded out there on social media. I don't like sharing my family. I don't like sharing too many details about my life. I don't love being exposed. It's not something that I do it because that's how I can do my work in this world. I feel like I'm on a mission and I need to do it. And this is the way that I can get this stuff out there. But inside the studio, I'm much more at ease, right? It's like, it's a closed garden. It's much kind of, it's a safe space. Let's put it that way. All right. Now I will just open the doors. If anyone has any questions that they want to share with me, if anyone has any hesitations, any objections, any concerns, now is the time to drop them in the comments and I will relate to them, because doors are about to close. I would love to see you inside the studio. I believe that it will benefit you in your life. It's the way I can do the work that I think I was put here to do and help you. And I only create things that I would want to consume, that I would find useful for myself. And so that's why I make those things. And I hope that you'll take me up on the offer. And even if you don't, that's okay. I totally get it. There are many other ways we can work together. And there are many other ways for me to support you. But this is by far the best. And Ginger says, oh, wow, I love this. I've been secretly hoping to get biz coaching from you for years. Any idea when will this be available? So I'm currently working on launching this. I think it will launch only to studio members, but I can't yet guarantee exactly the structure. But the idea really is for me to share, kind of unveil, lift up the curtain and give you business coaching. And I will just reveal that I actually don't do what I was trained to do. My training is in design. I worked in identity design, in graphic design, in business strategy, that kind of thing for years. So I worked in a branding firm, and I actually still do that quite a lot, but on the side, like for friends and family, because I just love it and I find it really interesting. So what the idea is to actually blend those two passions of mine, right? All of the parenting and the CBT and the mindset stuff, and the fact that I'm a mother of 5 and that I've built a business and held down a job, and while homeschooling and moving country and living through a war and all that stuff, I have actually gained a lot of, just in the trenches, problem solving and expertise on how to do that. But then also to offer you the other side of it, which is just that critical eye on what looks good, what makes sense, the strong names, the strong taglines, marketing, that kind of thing. So that's the idea for me, to blend those two, for you to get my eyeballs and my best brain cells on your business, on your side hustle, on your dream gig, on what you're trying to build, and for me to just offer you whatever it is I can from my own personal experience, should that be valuable to you. And I hope it will be. I would love for everyone, for every mother around the world, to have as meaningful a home life and work life, and that work-life balance, as I have been so lucky and so privileged to be able to build. But I think there are things you can do to get there, and I'm going to help you to do that. This is not focused. There we go. But I think that will be unlocking only for members. Ginger says, I've been a member before. Thank you for all that you do. You've been a calming and resetting voice for me for years. I'm so grateful for you. Hoping these days aren't too much in Israel. Sending love. Thank you so much. Yeah, they're definitely too much in Israel, but it's okay. We were built for challenging times, and we can take it. And I hope to see you as a member again, and to coach you on your biz. That would be amazing. All right, my dears, if you're sitting on the fence, it's time for me to push you off. I will see you inside the studio. There are a few hours left. If you have any questions about PayPal, yes, we have PayPal. Email us, hello@highfam.com. We can help you. If you have questions about the payment plans, if you have questions about exactly what's inside the studio, if you have questions about the recurring fee, the fee recurs every year or every quarter, depending on the payment plan you choose, but you can opt out at any time. But don't. Why would you want to? You should stay. But yeah, it's there are no hidden gotchas or hidden anyway, small print. It's all there on the page. And if you have any questions, just email us. I have Ruta on my team, who is an absolute superstar, and she's in charge of our customer delight, and she's really, really fantastic. Crescendo says, I've been with Avital from the beginning, since the first year of Present Play. That's what it used to be called. Now the studio, and I can't say enough good things about it. It's hard to explain how helpful and life-changing it is. Thank you so much. That is such a wonderful and kind thing to say. I really do appreciate it. I really am so grateful for my members who are showing up and telling you all, because it just sounds so silly for me to be tooting my own horn and telling you all the amazing results when you can just hear it straight from the horse's mouth. Ginger says, a bit off topic, do you offer training or groups for Jewish and Israeli moms dealing with recent events? No, I don't. I would love to. But what I've done is I've had a few live sessions inside of the studio, answering questions about the war, answering questions about how to communicate it to our children, how to deal with anti-Semitism, how to deal with political polarization. I am Jewish and Israeli, but I think in some ways that's the least interesting thing about me. Of course, it informs what I do in my work. And I'm very open and happy to talk about it and be honest about it. But the vast majority of my audience are not either Jewish nor Israeli. And so what's really important to me is to universalize the types of concepts that I want to talk about. Like, I might be talking about resilience because we're dealing with missile attacks. But for you, it might be because there's a hurricane attack or a school shooting or, anxiety because of a disease. And so, yeah, I bring examples from my life, and it helps me to take perspective and empathy and understand what people go through. But I don't really want to make it about me, not about my Jewish identity, not about my Israeli identity, not about the fact that I have 5 children or that I am a business owner. Or do you know what I mean? Like, it's not about me. It's really much more about you. I want you to connect with your identity, with your ancestry, with your patriotism, with your religion, with your family structure. And I'm here to empower you with those mindsets. So whilst it's not a secret and it's not, certainly not something I'm ashamed about, I'm very proud to be who I am, but I don't make it a centerpiece in any kind of way. In terms of support locally in my specific community, look, we have a lot of widows in my community. We've had a lot of losses in my extended family. We have a lot of, grief and suffering and struggle and a lot of soldiers. And so there's a lot of opportunities to support and to help and to show up, whether it's, through the school systems or through just our friends, right? A lot of our friends have lost children. A lot of our friends have lost spouses. When I say a lot, I can easily name a dozen. So either in family or in our friendship circles or just our acquaintances in the broader group. And so it's less, structured groups that I would run and more just trying to be a good community member, which is, a challenge. But I will say that I do have, I think, a couple of podcast episodes and YouTube videos that talk a little bit more. And certainly towards the beginning of the war, I was doing more kind of explaining of what was going on. But I don't tend to linger on it simply because of what I said, that I think I need to cater to my audience. I need to show up and serve my students who are not in the situation that I'm in. Does that make sense, Ginger? Let me know. Having said that, if someone comes in, we do have Israeli students, we do have Jewish students. And if someone comes in saying, we've had questions like, oh, my kid just keeps telling everyone we're Jewish and we live in Germany. And right now I'm really concerned with that she's just blabbing it out to everyone and it makes me feel scared. How do I tell her not to tell everyone that she's Jewish, but also not to be ashamed of being Jewish? That just off the top of my mind was a recent question that we had in one of our office hours. Right. So if that comes up from my students, then of course I'm going to be addressing that and I'm going to be coaching them on that. But it could be a completely different question that comes up that's unrelated to my particular culture and my particular heritage. And that's just fine. That's totally good. Right. I don't expect it to be always things that I could necessarily relate to. We have people who are, in all walks of life and who struggle with things that I have never struggled with, right? Like, thank God I've never got a divorce, but I coach people who are going through a divorce all the time because it's all about mindset. It's all about becoming a problem solver, being empowered, being strong, being capable, taking on the load. So it doesn't really matter what shape or form it comes in. Ginger says 100%. It also puts things in a perspective, like we're not the only ones dealing with horrible things. Thank you. Okay, so I assume you're here as well. And yeah, that's right. Exactly. I think it's very easy for us to get bogged down in our own struggles, which are real. But everyone has their struggle, right? Everyone has different struggles. And it's one of the things that is important to me to address inside the studio is that parenting is so much more than just, doing time-ins and not time-outs. It's so much more than that, right? It's setting up our children to handle life. Life is abrasive. Life is shocking. You could even say life is traumatizing, right? In some way. And so we need to set up our children to be able to handle that, whatever comes their way. Whatever skin color they have, whatever ethnicity they have, whatever sexuality they are, whatever nationality they are, whatever challenge happens to come their way. I mean, look, just, Israel now, Ukraine before, suddenly war breaks out, right? Or suddenly the measles break out, or suddenly there's a hurricane or a school shooting or, cancer in the family. And there's many different forms of struggle and of pain. But there aren't many different forms of mental toughness, right? Mental toughness, the capacity to handle it, the capacity to see yourself as strong and capable is, universally applicable. And I will just say, okay, excellent. An Israeli living in the US. Yeah, totally. I will just say that I do have to give credit that many of the mindsets that inform me do come from my Jewish identity, whether it's because in Judaism, we put a massive emphasis on family culture, right? Things like Friday night meals, lighting candles, singing songs, blessing the children. Those are all these kind of ancient, traditions that we have in Jewish families that I want to make accessible to everyone because I think they're relevant just psychologically. They make a lot of sense. But we also, I have, and a lot of people have, a history of perspective taking. When you grow up on the laps of Holocaust survivors, you have a different perspective on life. You have a different perspective on gratitude, on resilience, on overcoming, on trauma. And that's something that really, really helps me in my life. I use that a lot in my work. For example, Viktor Frankl, who was an Auschwitz survivor and a psychiatrist, really is, I guess you could say, at the basis of my work, right? His inspiration and his teachings that they can take everything away from man, but they can't take away the last of man's freedoms, which is the decision of how to react to any given situation. I mean, I take that, I just copy that verbatim into my parenting coaching and into my life when I'm struggling with things that might seem minor, seem like privileges in comparison to the things that he suffered through, like, okay, a child's tantrum or whatever. But then you start to see, no, I need to develop a strong mindset, and that is my freedom. That is my privilege. That is where I get to exercise my individuality and my God-given freedom. And it's really interesting because in today's culture, we're very encouraged to see ourselves actually the opposite way, to see ourselves as victims, right? You go on Instagram and I challenge you to scroll for more than a minute before someone's talking about how tough the mental load is, and how exhausting parenting is, and how difficult it is, or some polarizing comment about politics, or talking about how moms are always doing invisible labor. All these things that are disempowering, that are totally disempowering, that make us feel like we're victims. And I take the opposite stance. We're not victims. Sure, there's challenge. There's inherent challenge in raising children. No one's going to take that away from us. But it's also an adventure. It's also a privilege. It's also something that can be a great source of meaning. It's a total hack for having a meaningful life. Like, it's just like a shortcut, right? And we're freaking shaping the future. Like, this is exactly what we're doing here. And so, yeah, that is the mindset that I take. You are on an adventure. You are building the most meaningful project of your life. You are shaping the future. You are a parent who is a leader, whether you like it or not. And if you feel that you are deserving and ready for the leadership training, the content, the coaching, the community that will inspire you and keep you aligned with your vision and with your values and feeling strong, confident, conviction, and clarity, then I invite you to join the studio, highfam.com/studio. I'll see you on the inside. Bye.